Einen wunderschönen Abend. Ich begrüße alle ganz herzlich zum heutigen Abend, wo wir sehr, sehr glücklich sind, dass Wael Shawky heute bei uns ist und sprechen wird. Und als wir vor einigen Wochen diesen Termin oder Monaten diesen Termin vereinbart haben, Doris Krystof, Wael Shawky und ich, haben wir gedacht, liegt ein ziemlich langer Zeitraum zwischen Fertigstellung der Filmproduktion und dem heutigen Abend. Aber nun ist es dazu gekommen, dass es sozusagen punktgenau gestern Nacht die Filmproduktion, das eigentliche der Filmdreh fertig geworden ist. Alle sind noch ganz betäubt und auch sehr müde, aber es ist eigentlich auch ein schöner Zeitpunkt, das jetzt so unmittelbar danach darüber zu sprechen, denke ich, weil I just told them that last night you finished the film production, now you have to cut it, but it's the perfect moment now to speak, a bit tired, but in midst this process of production still. Wir haben ja für die Kunstsammlung Nordrhein-Westfalen ein ungewöhnliches Unterfangen gemacht, nämlich auch einem Künstler zu ermöglichen, wirklich eine filmische Produktion im Museum zu ermöglichen. Es war vor allem auch für uns eine ganz besondere und aufregende Erfahrung. Und vielleicht nochmal zur Erinnerung, dieser Prozess hat damit begonnen, dass wir den zweiten Teil der Cabaret Crusades von Wael Shawky, der auf der Documenta ja auch gezeigt wurde, erworben haben. Also sozusagen die Entscheidung dafür, eine Arbeit, weil wir so überzeugt waren von der Qualität, in die Sammlung zu überführen, bildete den Starting Point des ganzen Prozesses. Und es ist dem Künstler eben sehr wichtig, dass bei dieser Entwicklung seiner Trilogie zur Geschichte der Kreuzzüge aus arabischer Sicht auch die Europäer sehr stark beteiligt sind, denn immerhin sind ja von Europa auch die Kreuzzüge ausgegangen, sodass man hier von einer Produktion sprechen kann, der sowohl vor allem auch Italien stark beteiligt war, Frankreich und jetzt eben dieser Teil in Deutschland bei uns entstanden ist. Ja, ich freue mich, dass Doris Krystof heute das Gespräch mit ihm führen wird und übergebe das Wort. Einen wunderbaren Abend.
Dankeschön, thank you. Yeah, thank you. We now will switch in English, and I'm very glad that you all came, and I'm very, very glad that you came tonight, because, I mean, yesterday night we had a long and wonderful party and had to celebrate, and we are all missing the situation with the puppeteers and the stage, and I just want to ask you very directly, how was your day today? What are your feelings? What is your I mean, you have a lot to do still in front of you, but yeah, maybe we can just start with that, and you take this microphone, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for all this beautiful, amazing months that we spent here to have this great opportunity and this hopefully successful project in the end, inshallah. Yeah, I was sleeping today for sure, yes. It was really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what shall we say? Maybe we just go a little bit more back, because I know you finished a trilogy, 3 parts of Cabaret Crusades. It's in 4 years. You started in 2010. And now it's 14, so it's a long time. It's certainly the biggest work you ever did. Mm-hmm. And maybe you can go a little bit back to the first film. I think most of the people here will have seen Cabaret Crusades 1 and 2, which are in the exhibition, and yes, maybe they also have seen a bit of the film production. I would also like to talk with you, or for the audience, to explain again our idea of the window. To bring together film production and the exhibition.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can just talk a little bit about this whole project that is started in 2010. I was invited to take part of a residency program at Pistoletto Foundation in Biella, where we had this discussion. And he was really, really interested in supporting a film, a marionette film. When I started to discuss with him that I would like to use original marionette, not really that to make marionette, he also suggested some different foundations in Italy. And through looking to many different museums.
Pistoletto
Pistoletto,
himself.
yes. Of course, because the foundation really helped me a lot to realize this production in the beginning in Biella. I went through many different foundations and different museums, and I found really amazing historical marionette collection in Torino. It's called Lupi Collection. I don't know if anybody heard of this, but it was really incredible. I've never seen something similar to this. And surprisingly, the foundation convinced this museum to lend us more than 110 marionettes, historical marionettes, to make the film with. Of course, we changed everything. We changed the costume, and even we put some makeup even on some of the marionettes. But in the end, it was really something very important to use a historical, it's 200 years old, it's not really that old, but it's 200 years old Italian marionette, to use it as the starting point of the Crusades history.
But why marionettes? I mean, this is so special decision to work with marionettes and not with actors. Before you worked a lot with kids, with children in your films. Yeah. But there you decided to have these puppets, which are which are objects in a way. Maybe you can explain that a little bit more, because we will see that now in the last film it's marionettes made by glass, which is totally unique. It's nobody does that or did that before.
Yes, before this series I was working on another series called Telematch. It's a name of a German program in the 80s. Actually, it's like really more than they bring two German cities to compete with each other. I don't know who's familiar with this thing. It was very famous in Saudi Arabia when I was a kid.
So weird. It was not famous here. I checked this.
I know.
Because when you told this, I first thought it's Spiel ohne Grenzen. This I know from my childhood, but Telematch I never heard. And you always said, it was so famous in Saudi Arabia and in Egypt.
Oh, so. The Arab world. I mean, if you go there, say
it's Telematch. It's a nice title.
Telematch
is a good title.
Yes. So it was a Telematch series, and I made different films of Telematch. So Telematch Shelter, Telematch Sadat, Telematch Suburbs, and the final one was Telematch Crusades, where I worked with kids. And part of working with kids really is that I'd like a lot to work with people that don't have this skills of acting. I don't like to work with actors, actually. I would like really to work with people that really don't have these skills. And of course, kids will not even know who Sadat is. So I was trying to make it for example, one of the films, the assassination of Sadat. So, of course, they didn't know who Sadat is. They're just like really following what they are exactly saying. So you don't really see acting in their face. It does not depend on the acting skills.
But it's a game, more like playing a game.
Yeah, it's a game. It's also it's Telematch has to do with the idea that there is someone constructing a fake competition between two groups in order for him or for them to entertain a third party. And in our situation, the third party becomes the art audience, basically. So anyway, in Telematch Crusades, I was working with kids, and from this point, that was 2009. And after 2009, I met with Pistoletto, and I told him that I would like to make a film with marionette. And the idea of marionette came when I started to read about this history. Of course, I did not know anything about this history. It was just like thought that I knew, but anything. I was just started to study this. And the first thing was really, for me, striking is the idea of the speech by Pope Urban II when he launched the first Crusades in 1095. And what was more important to me, that when he launched this Crusades idea, it was not documented in the church, and it was documented after. So now, if we look at this speech, we find that we have almost 4 different versions of the same speech. And this is, for me, very interesting, because it tells something about writing history and how do we believe in history and how much we believe in it. Then I started during my research, I found a book by Amin Malouf called Crusades Through Arab Eyes. And the title was very important to me because it's the same history, but it's presented or it's read by a different point of view. In this time, it's the Arab point of view. Of course, in the whole series, I did not only depend on Amin Malouf. Amin Malouf became like a reference for me. And then I have to go to the sources that he used. So Amin Malouf is using all the Arab historian sources, including Ibn Kathir, Ibn al-Qalansi, Ibn Jubair, Ibn Munqidh. And some of these historians became characters in our films, that they are telling the story by themselves, like Ibn Munqidh, for example.
Or people we do not know here normally in the West, all these names you just said. I mean, people who are really going very into the medieval history, they might know, but there is only in 2010 we have seen a book appearing from an historian, from a British historian, which is such big, 800 pages, and it's makes a he compares the Arab view and the Western view. Thomas Asbridge is his name, and this is really very, very interesting to see how this period, which is nearly 1,000 years ago, is looked very, very different from different perspectives.
Yeah.
So this is rather new, this comparison of these both different views. But you are interested in history, of course, but on the other side, we always see that the story of the Crusades brings a lot of references to that what is happening today in the Middle East.
Of course, yeah. I will just first continue the question that you had for the why marionette. So one is I feel that it's connected. It's sort of development of the idea of working with kids for me, because of this idea of trying to erase drama, that you don't see drama really in this, there is no acting. At the same time, there is no gender layer in this. So you don't see really man, woman complexity you just see society, which is very important. And I think with working with marionette became much more evident. It's not really still see this with some films that I still am working with kids. And of course the idea of manipulation that happened when I was reading about this speech by Pope Urban II, that we don't know exactly if this is what happened, but we know that he convinced people to walk mainly from the beginning, supposedly from the history. It says that the first wave came from here, actually, came from this area, from the Rhine, yes, first wave. And some people, half of the people supposedly died in this trip from here to Jerusalem because, of course, they were extremely poor and they didn't know. But I'm sure he had enough charisma to convince people that this is important enough. So it's about the manipulation, for sure, the idea of working with the marionette.
Yeah, it's a kind of mass phenomenon that people listened to him, and then they really did that horrible trip, which was really very, very far and very dangerous. And we see in first Cabaret Crusades film, we see 60,000 crusaders arrive in Constantinople, which is amazing and incredible that so many really could go there. So it was really a lot of a big group of people coming to that Holy Land, as they called it.
Land, yes, of course, of course.
But again, to the marionette, I would like to ask you, I mean, in Italy, you could work with this wonderful marionettes made by wood from the 18th century. So they are looking really very, very special and beautiful. And but was it for you at the very first beginning, for the first film, not an option to realize marionettes on your own, like you did then in the second and third film?
Yeah, I think it would be very, very complex to do it from the first film. I felt it was also I didn't have the money to do it, and of course did not have how can I say this? I wanted to concentrate only on the first 4 years of the Crusades history, which has lasted for 200 years. So first 4 years started from the launching of by Pope Urban II for the Crusades, till they reached Jerusalem in after 4 years in 1099. That was the main thing. But I think it was the project itself was part of my head to make it similar to Telematch series, because it was already I started already the research, and that's why after this, when I was invited to Documenta, I had some more money for production, and I decided to make the marionette from the scratch.
Yeah, which is a very visible result if you look to the first film and the second film,
Yes.
because I mean in the first film it's all is much more realistic in a way, and the second film is more abstract, more playful, more free, I would say, because there are also animals acting, so you are much more playing with that idea of the puppets and the marionettes as artificial objects. It's really sculptures. Which is more visible still, I would say, now with the glass objects, which are so wonderful sculptures in a way.
Yeah, I think even the second film is more connected to my personal drawings. So I made all the designs with my drawings that is similar really to the drawings that I make usually, even more than the glass marionette, because the glass marionette are more based on the African masks. So many of the glass marionettes are almost similar to original African masks, and its collection started to I've seen it in the Metropolitan Museum actually. Yeah, but it's a shift. I think every film has something different and different period of the Crusades. For example, the second part of the series. It's from 1099 till 1146. So this is the period where the Crusaders are already settled in the Middle East, and the film is speaking more about the relationship between the Arab leaders during this time. So it's more even than the relationship between the Crusaders and the Arab countries. And I think this time in our new film is much more complex, because it tells about many different layers. It's not only the relationship between the Arab leaders together, it's more about the internal or domestic fights between two sects, for example, between for Muslims, for example, between Sunnah and Shia, and also in the end of the film between Catholic and Orthodox. And this is all happening within the period of the Crusades history, actually.
Which are ending then in 1204.
Yes.
With the destruction of Constantinople. So this is also nearly half a century, like in the second film too.
Yes.
The title, I remember when we first met, that was in April 2013 in Munich. And I asked you if you would do a solo show together, and you said yes, but the film production would be also nice and urgent and good, and this thrilled me totally, and I thought, yeah, this is super great. I would like to do this once to try to connect the museum with the film production. And what was totally ready in your head in that time was the title, The Secrets of Karbala. And you told me about that, and I have to say that I didn't know nothing about that, really. And it was so many things. You were so filled with all that already. Can you tell a little bit about that title, which because I've read, by the way, in Jacques Sapieha, who was in the second film production, a very important figure. He writes in his text that the title, The Path to Cairo, which is the title of the second Cabaret Crusades film, came very late, in fact.
The Path to Cairo, yes. Now, the Secrets of Karbala was important because I was trying to the beginning of our film now is someone called Nuruddin, and he was really important figure, and he's the one who behind this is what the Arab consider victory really, which is like sending Saladin to Cairo, and Saladin is the one who managed in the end to unify all the Arab countries during this time, which is Syria and Egypt. And from having them together, he was having enough power and force to go get Jerusalem back to the Muslims. And this is very important for the Arab history, because they consider this is the biggest, of course, biggest victory happened to them during this 200 years. But Nuruddin is the one behind this. And Nuruddin was Sunnah. And during this time, Egypt was ruled by Shia. Not Shia, actually, it's the Fatimid period. So it's like this is the, what they call it, the Alawiya country. Saladin managed to turn Egypt from this Fatimid period, or from Fatimid system or Shia system, to the Sunnah system. And for many people, they consider this turning point is the one that led into this big victory. And for me, it's, I mean, again, I'm trying to be really not, I mean, I don't see it as good or bad, or I'm just like, for me, I feel that this whole history is human creation. So it's elements that it's very important to work with it. And even sometimes to mimic each event any Arab historian wrote, even if I don't believe it. And I think part of this being that precise is to be also critical about the way that how much we believe in it and how much we believe in this text.
Is this also a reason why you called it cabaret? Because, I mean, the cabaret is a very, it's in fact, it's a Western type of genre. It's a Western genre of theater.
Yes.
And, I mean, it brings you to a very special kind of narration, I would say. It's not a very linear narration, but more like one number after the other, and it's not telling a congruent story. Is that something?
It has, yeah. I think it also has to do with the concept of entertainment of shows, because also in the film you see, as you've just said, you see chapters of cities and events happening as so it looks like a show really. And sometimes when you read this historical text, you feel that it's made this way, because sometimes really the history does not make sense, but it has to have this look of drama. For example, even this victory by Saladin, I think it's extremely important to me to mention it in this film, because it was not the end of this whole story, but for most of the let's say the Arab dream, it was part of our dream that this is the end, that Saladin brought the victory. And it was not really correct, because after his death, his nephew gave back Jerusalem to the Crusaders. I mean, not even, maybe just 11 years after or something. It was not really that, it's not black and white. It's, yeah, I like this.
But later then, in the 13th century, Jerusalem became again came under Muslim rule.
Yeah. Even
So
when the nephew gave it back, but it was not the same, because Saladin managed to make them less. Most of them left the area. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I cannot say that from the third film, which we have now seen how it was filmed, and it was not easy to follow even. I mean, okay, a film is not filmed in a chronology of the film. This will be done now and later. But I remember there being, like in the first two films, wonderful scenes of a wedding, for example. And also, this is really like a show. The wedding show was, or the wedding celebration, the wedding party was arranged like a big, nice party of two people, but it was a very political marriage of Saladin and the ex-wife of Nuruddin,
Yes.
even.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, this is unfortunately this is something also. I think most of the teamwork that we were working there, we were like really missing the existence of the females in the. But this is something really has to do, I think, with history. We didn't see enough. We didn't find really enough characters in this Crusader history. I don't understand why really, but it's so
Yeah,
most of the time it's connected to marriage, and it's political marriage basically. Yes.
Yeah, but the marionettes are not really fixed on a gender thing. I mean, they are all looking
of course.
like, especially the glass marionettes, and there are also a lot of animals playing important roles. Yes. The turtles. What about the turtles? I always wanted to ask you, because they are so nice glass turtles, as big as this. Do not know if you see them somewhere, but has a special importance or a special meaning, the turtle?
No, I don't think so. I think it was it was also sort of this. It was experimentation in Venice. Just to talk about this, what happened in Venice in the glass. It's a factory in Murano that was working with us to make this beautiful marionette, but at the same time also we had our teamwork from France that really managed to put all this marionette together to make them really working and talking and have eyes blinking and all of this. This is not really something happening in Murano in general, but it was a teamwork of many creative people that managed to do this amazing work at the end. So sometimes also part of this figures that was happening in the end was a collection between we make one head and we make another body, and then we decide to put this head on this body, and it works, and then it becomes a new creature, and it's
Yeah, you see here good examples of everything. And I also want to mention the costumes, because for me that has become during the shooting the more and more interesting thing, how the costumes change the glass marionettes, because the material of glass is various. I mean, it's shiny, it's reflecting, it's a hard material, it's very it's transparent.
yes.
And yeah, there you had really very good partners to work with, artists.
Absolutely.
Francesca,
yes.
who did all
Francesca,
the...
Giorgio, and yeah, they really made amazing work. The work all when we spoke about it in the also we were discussing this in the beginning in Venice. I was trying to see if it's possible to make everything handmade, and we don't use anything has to do with polyester, or everything has to be real, and like the glass, like everything we're trying to do with the material is extremely important in this work. And I was like really every day surprised by the amount of creation that I see from them. You see all this work by all this crochet handmade that you see with the soldier, and all the metal parts are made by Giorgio, that he's not here, unfortunately. He left.
This is Fabrizio, the first cameraman, who also worked with you on the first films.
Yes, of course. This is Giorgio, by the way. Yes.
maybe we go back to, I mean, would really be fun to comment on every image, but I think you will all have the opportunity to see the film soon. We all will. What I would like to ask you, I mean, because it's so, there are two things I would just, it's about your definition as being an artist, how you are working, where are you coming from? Because, I mean, in this case, this is so big, this is so complex, and this is another issue. I'm really interested into speak more about this complexity of your artwork, because it's really, in my eyes, it's really rare that artists are doing so big things, are so working with certain materials, and to really be very a sculptor and a painter and a filmmaker, and you are writing and you're even composing music for your films. So maybe we can both talk a little bit, where are you coming from, and maybe it's also fits together, this theme of complexity.
Okay. As a kid, I lived in Mecca. I lived in Saudi Arabia, and I think it was a time in Saudi Arabia where the Saudi Arabia was, of course, they discovered the oil long time before this, but they started to gain from this oil during this 70s, mid-70s, and living in Mecca as a kid, I was really surrounded by this tribal, how can I say this, energy. It was very tribal and very nomadic, Bedouin, but at the same time, it's a sort of modernized society that is becoming connected somehow with this all new, very fancy cars that are coming from Saudi Arabia and all these new things. It was a sort of a mix between modernization and Bedouin nomad. But it's very clear. You cannot see this that clear now because things became more unified. So for me, I still think that it's very important in my work it's part of it not to see contrast, but to see different systems working at the same time in the same film. See religious happening at the same time. There is consumerism and entertainment, many different layers. At the same time, you cannot sometimes even compare between these two systems. They're far away from each other. But I think most of this complexity that you're talking about came from this period of living in Mecca. In Saudi
and then
Arabia.
you also lived for a while in the US, so it's still another layer.
Yeah, but I believe that it was more about the childhood. And it's still also a part of this connection to religion, because I think religion is extremely important to me personally and also in my work. So it's really always visible in the main reason behind the Crusades is supposedly religious. So that's also for me is very interesting.
And are you aware, or do you think about what the public, which is mostly we could, or it's a question, it's Western, or it's a big Western public, which is appreciating your work, and that it's maybe I'm just wondering if this excess or this opulence of everything, also in the content, are you aware that this maybe not can be followed in each and understand? And is it a part of your work? Because I mean it's too much. I mean, who does know something about the Crusades? Crusades from Europe perspective. We could not. Nobody would tell you. Could tell you something. Yes. So it's also a kind of Überforderung. I do not know the English word. Maybe someone can help me to this is as a kind of principle of your of the work. Is that
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand the question, but if you're talking about if I am aware that most of the audience are coming from Western background, this is what you would say?
no? It's not only the Western background. It's that is. I mean, it's totally these layers, these many layers in your films. I mean, this also gives the possibility to perceive them from different point of view. And yeah, I mean, you can say that every very good artwork has these layers, these different layers, and you can contact. But my experience is that yeah, people can very soon. I mean, it's very about this visual thing. This is attractive, and everybody is totally in that. But for the content and how is that really meant? How you know, there's always yeah, too. Yeah, but it's maybe in a little bit in this direction. I mean, your as a working principle, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, I don't know. I mean, I just the only thing that I okay. For example, let's have one of the examples of the music that I used in the previous film. This music is coming originally from Bahrain. It's pearl fishing music. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful, complex music I've ever heard in my life. Really, I'm not exaggerating, but seriously, it was always affecting me totally. And I was extremely surprised to know that no one in Bahrain has used this music in any artistic form, real artistic form. I mean, not folklore or traditional and this. So
how did you find that music? Did you
Well,
is
maybe
it recorded somewhere?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I know it through also living in Saudi Arabia and traveling and so on. But that's not the point. Of course, if you speak to many people in Bahrain, they will tell you that it's one of the most complex and amazing music. But I'm talking about this type of also cultural limitations that I don't really believe that an artist has to be connected only to his culture in order for him to have the green light to talk about it. And I think this is always happening. That is, people are expecting that I'm someone coming from Egypt. That means I have to talk about these cultural things that connected to Egypt, which is not really true. Honestly, it's not true. And I think many of these issues that I'm dealing with here has to do with many different cultures. It's not really has to do only with Egypt. If this is what you... it's very also complex that an artist will be always thinking about which audience, because today, as we see, like we show everywhere. There is no limitations to this.
No, but it's always a decision you take, an artistic decision for. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities, and maybe it's. I come from another side now, and I'm asking you for the material, the materiality, the glass, for example.
Yes.
I mean, this is really absolutely rare. What you are doing, it's really unique to have asked these glass workers in Murano. They never did marionettes before, and so it's really. Also, we are taking a risk also in a way. I mean, glass can be kitschy very soon. But so you are trying, and then you have to share this risk with people.
It is risk, yes.
Yeah.
But I think everything has to do with art is also risk. Otherwise, if we know, how would it look like? It will not be art anymore. So it's like really, this is something of the process. When I was hoping to make this glass marionette, I tried this, I think that was 2012, somewhere in Marseille, actually, in a factory in Marseille. And after 2 months of discussions, in the end, they refused. They said, we cannot. And I just tried to make 10 heads for the marionettes for the previous film. And they refused really because they felt that this is not something possible. We cannot do it. It's impossible. When I went to Murano, a year ago, or that was a year and a half ago, I believe. The discussion with the people in Murano was like really more optimistic, that it's okay, maybe it's possible to make parts, and then we're not responsible for connecting these parts together to become a marionette in the end. So of course it is a risk to make it, and we don't know even if it will be kitschy, because I've seen many artists in this place, and you remember this place, how it looked like, huh? Many artists, and big names also, and many of the work that they did there is extremely kitschy. And you cannot control it, because the material, it really forces more toward this. So it's a risk. If it's successful, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we now experience the transformation of these marionettes from props and actors,
Yes.
and now they will become kind of artworks overnight or in the next days,
Yes.
and they will be sculptures, and you will keep them.
Yes.
And what's about the other parts of the scenography? We should talk a little bit. I hope you can follow our conversation, because I mean we are working now since a long time together, and we are sharing lots of things, and I hope it's not too mysterious what we are talking about. And but I would like to come back again to that to another important part of the new film, the scenography, the turning stage, because I always from the very beginning I had the idea that the turning stage is really a very central and very symbolic part of that film.
Yes. Yes. It has to do with the idea of tawaf around Kaaba in Haram. Of course, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. For Muslims, they are like going around this Kaaba. Yes. And also has to do with all this zodiacs it's medieval zodiacs, and the idea of during this time that the earth is the center of the universe. And I was thinking that this can be really the main way of having this this film. This time, the scenography is all going in circles, and it's almost as you see here in many maybe photos. It's like half a circle, and how can I explain
It's
this?
like an arena. I mean, maybe you have
I did
seen
not get
already.
this.
It's
Okay,
half a
yeah.
circle where the stage is made by wood. It's approximately 7 meters in the diameter. It consists
here,
of
here.
here you can see it very, very good, and here you can
Yes.
also see
The
it's a
zodiac.
kind of, this is not in fact a zodiac, I would say. It's a card. It's a map. It's a medieval map which is showing a T. This is a very famous type of medieval maps, this T map. And this stage is, as you can see or can imagine here, can be turned around with these rings. These 2 rings are able to turn, and also is the middle Scheibe, this in the center of the stage. And so it's for the filming, for the shooting, it was really wonderful to create very different effects.
It was also the idea that just part of the trying to make it a bit more developed for this film is to not only to have marionette moving, but also to have also the scenography playing part of the role of the filming also. So that came also with this idea of having a turning stage in circles, and I think also the museum managed to make this real. I think this is also part of this whole challenge and risks, because many of these type of work, it's handmade, and it's also tiring for people to make it. And it really needs a lot of discussions and tryings, and you're not sure if the result will be perfect or not, or will work or not. It's like everything. It's not really things made with machines. And I think this is also part of the risk, that we really try to use this our craft to make something that maybe will work, maybe not.
Yeah. And then in this case, it was also a wonderful coincidence that in our museum we have a wonderful carpenter who is normally doing the circles and the vitrines and so. But now he was in contact with Wael, and Wael told him about his idea of a turning stage, and Bernd Strauchmann was totally thrilled about that idea, and he was very challenged, and he liked this task, which was more than he ever invented and designed, and this is great. This is really, he also thought about how this can be the motors, which motors he would need to bring that movement in the stage, and so it was. I think this is also one of your wonderful, your wonderful artist. Position that you really bring people to do more that they normally can do.
No, but
So this is really
I
really have to say that I don't want to flatter to you, but it's yeah.
You meant 1 month.
Yeah, no, it functioned. This is true. Yeah. While I don't know, I do not have a clock, but it's 8. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can go a little bit in the future, or see that Cabaret Crusades is a now finished work of 3 parts. Does that make sense for you? It is one work now, and really,
Yes.
and what's next?
Yeah, this I think it's.
Speak about this.
This is the window, okay.
Yeah.
I think this is also one of something very important to me, this window. Really important. I studied in Alexandria, Faculty of Fine Arts in Alexandria. My professor, called Farouk Wahba, had, I think, like more than 3 years here at the Academy of Düsseldorf. And for me, when he came back to Egypt, for me was really like he's opening a window of this amazing contemporary art in Europe in general. But for me, it was mainly coming from here, from Düsseldorf. Or at least that all the artists that were connected to Düsseldorf Academy. So as a student, as a young student, really, most of my heroes were from Germany. All the artists that I was like really fascinated by were from Germany.
Joseph Beuys, for example.
Joseph Beuys, of course, was like the most. So yeah, of course, I was like really almost studying everything he did, and we didn't have any facilities, anything in Egypt during this time. No internet, nothing. It was just books. So I was like just looking at the pictures and reading whatever things that I can read, and that's it. But of course, to come here and to make this big experience project in this city and this museum is an honor for me. Seriously, it's a really big honor, and for me, it's like really taking me back to this time when I was in Alexandria. And the element of performance that is connected to Joseph Beuys because of this time, I think I felt that it's very important to be evident in this exhibition. And in this exhibition, I felt that, okay, what will be much more interesting performance than what we are making every day, the making of the third part. So it came this idea of the window where people can be seeing this whole making as daily performance, real performance happening. We're not really acting, but we're like really making the reality. Yes, so important.
Yeah, and it will go further, because now as the shooting is over, we will also then open this part of the Grabehalle and will then experience the film set as a kind of installation, which it is also, of course. I mean, you can see that here, the landscapes which are in the background of that turning stage. It is really a very sculptural work of many artists also.
Yeah, we will leave everything. We will leave all the remainings of this 1 month working to become like really, the exhibition. And I think it makes sense completely.
I mean, should we open the discussion, or because I would, if not, I would like to talk to you a little bit about other works. But I'm also open that maybe if someone wants to ask something or. Would you please take a microphone?
Okay. I would like to know about the African mask for the third movie. If it's okay, or if it's too, if it's telling too much, you don't have to say, but this is my question. Why the African masks?
Yeah. It doesn't have any. I wouldn't say any like political reason for. It was the totally visual choice, absolutely, and it was okay. For as I said, for the second part of the series, it was all based on my personal drawings, so it looked like what I usually draw. And for this other, for the third film, I was trying to make something also that may connect a little bit, connect visually a little bit with the art history. So that's why also it came the idea of when we were making the Zodiac, although in the end that did not become clear really. The Zodiac and the city in the back, it was more important that it's not really very smooth circular shape. In fact, it still has this, it's like cubism, sort of. So I just want to say that it was more visual choice to make it maybe even more surreal as
this again, I would say it's also a sign for this complexity I mentioned before, because we have so many layers, stylistic layers. We have this African references, we have this cubistic, but we can also tell it or call it that it's has a relation to Giotto. We looked a lot of works
most of
Giotto.
The scenography that you see is taken from Giotto's painting.
We also looked medieval, Western European medieval Holzschnitte, for example, Schädische Weltchronik, and so this was all giving inspiration for a set which is totally multi-layered, I would say.
Yes, the second part of Cabaret Crusades. Okay, it was made out of the marionettes were made out of ceramic, and again that was big challenge to make marionette out of ceramic because they put the ceramic in the furnace, and when you get them back in pieces, some shrinks, some breaks, so you have to make a lot of tries in order for you to make in the end again a marionette that is speaking and blinking and all of this. But of course it was a big challenge, and we had amazing people that was really behind it and decided to make it, including someone called Pierre. He's not with us today, but he did amazing job in this work. And the background of this film was all based on the Iranian and the Islamic miniatures. So it was also, again, it was a visual decision in the end, because you see, if you see the film of Path to Cairo, it's more like something between the 2D and 3D, but it's mainly 2D experience.
It's like a pop-up book, these books you open up and then they get a three-dimensional stage or so.
But it also has to do with the visual, that how people used to see perspective in this time. So I think it was important.
Okay. Hello, I've got a question. I would really like, you said religion is really important for you, so I'm wondering, could you define could you give us your definition of religion, manipulation and history, and combined to your work, to your own philosophy maybe, and to the world? Well, you can choose whatever you want from that. She said your work is demanding and complex, so I said it actually. Sorry.
Okay, I think much simpler than this. It's okay. We try. We try. Okay. No, okay. I mean, as I said, I lived in Mecca. So Mecca is, I was just like really, it was walking distance between my home and Haram, which is the most energetic religious place, I think, in the world, really. And it's really something part of everything I'm thinking of, like really part of, yeah. And how is this connected to, for example, to art? Yeah. Okay. If I talk about this, maybe I again connect this to the way I deal with material, because for me, working with material is also sort of a belief. Really, I don't think it's possible if I am the viewer, to receive this conceptual aspect from a material if I don't believe of its chemical content. I think that's why I worked with tar, liquid tar. I worked with asphalt, with cement in previous work, really. And maybe now this is also the thing that you were telling me about. This is grass, for example. For example, this is part of everything we're talking about. Why it's real grass, why it's not plastic grass. That was always a discussion happening during this film. Why do we have to use real material if in the end, in the filming, it will look like real? But this is not really, it's not a belief. You need to believe in it, really. You have to as an artist, to believe in it, otherwise it will be nothing. Even if I will not know that this is real silk, it will not make a difference. No, it will make a difference for me. That's, if you want to connect the religious aspect, I would connect it to this part, really.
And the history and the manipulation.
Yeah, as I said, history for me is human creation. I don't believe in it that much, and I like a lot to work with it as, for example, other series I'm working on. It's called Al-Arab Al-Madfuna. I'm really working with literature, and I use literature as is. I don't change it. I take a novel by someone called Muhammad Mustajab, and the kids are playing exactly what he said. No changes. And I try to do the same with history also. Writing history for me is not really far from literature. It's human creation, and we never know, as I said, if it's real or not. Yeah. But yeah, that's part. And what's the third part? Human?
Manipulation. You said the word before, so I picked up on it. Sorry.
Yeah, but the manipulation is happening because of this idea. I mean, if you're talking about, it was not for me connecting between religion and manipulation. It was more about this speech that happened by someone extremely important that led into this. We had something a bit similar in this last film, similar to the idea of the speech by Pope Urban II, which is maybe Pope Urban II was extremely religious, or he really believed in it to the degree that people really believed in it also and walked to Jerusalem. But for example, here we have a new example, which is the Doge Dandolo. of Venice is playing a role in this film. When I found this extremely interesting. The French came to Venice, went to Venice to try to ask the Doge Dandolo to help them to go to Jerusalem by boats. So the Doge said, okay, we will help you. We will build like 250 boats to go to Jerusalem, but at the same time you have to pay this amount of money. When the French came back, they did not manage really to have this amount of money to pay. Supposedly, this is the history that maybe it's wrong, but I'm just telling you what's written. They tried to pay, they couldn't. So the Doge said, okay, no problem. You don't have to pay now, but you bring all your army and we go to Zara first to take it, and then we go to Jerusalem. So they took all the army, the French army, and they went to Zara. All of them.
Zara in Dalmatien.
Yeah.
The little, I don't know, why should they go to Zara? I never understood that.
Because Zara, the Venetians considered Zara part of their land. And now they wanted to take it back. So they used the French army for this. So they went to Zara, and in Zara, they decided to split it into between the French and the Venetians. And then after this, they found that they don't have even money to go to Jerusalem. So again, the Doge suggested for them, supposedly, maybe the Doge, maybe someone else, but suggested that they all go to Constantinople first to take it, and okay, they have a lot of money in Constantinople, then we go to Jerusalem. So that was basically the Fourth Crusades. And I find that these things are extremely important and connected by someone has enough authority and, of course, political to convince people to go through all of this somehow.
And in this regard, I find it really genius to use marionettes, because they are really at their strings. It's really, you're always asking who is guiding them. Why do they do what they do? And you can see that for your own behavior also.
Manipulation, yes.
This is really the pure manipulation. And we had these wonderful puppeteers now here to see how this is possible, how they were on the bridge. You see it here, for example. And it was really great to, how these puppets got alive or made the appearance of be alive. And in fact, it's dead material only. So.
Now you just started, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about the relationship between the subject, the Crusades, and the now time, the present. And I know you are now working for a long time with this movie and with the subject. Did it change because of the development in the Arabic world and the Western world during the last years? I mean, your plans, your idea, the whole project maybe?
Yes. Well, it started before. The project started before all the new events in the Arab world. And usually I don't really try to become the artist who really is just reactionary to what's happening. So today we have revolution, so we talk about the revolution. I find that really art is higher than this, for sure. And I don't think I would like to be that connected to these quick changes. I prefer to talk about something happened 1,000 years ago, really. Yeah, because even today, I understand that it's parallel, and you still see that there are some similarities. You see the similarities, of course. But even today, with all the media that we have, with all the evidence, with all people like me and my friends and people I know were in the revolution itself, you still doubt many things. You never know the truth, really. And that's why I don't really try to work with something that I believe that it's real or not. I work with this document that it's supposed to be history, that it's supposed to be, which is human, really, creation, that's similar to what is happening today. We have media today that is lying all the time. about what happened. I'm talking about the media in Egypt. That it's really lying all the time. That's trying to convince people about something particular. Okay, so how will you be as an artist working with these elements? Which elements? I think it will make more sense to me, as I said, to work with this as only human creation, not fact. There is no fact. Yeah. Anyway, so to go back to when we started the whole production, it was 2010. If I try to, for example, to connect what is happening in this project, if I see any changes happened because of what happened in the Middle East or recently, yeah, I think only maybe the topic of the Sunnah Shia, maybe. It's the only thing that maybe I feel that it can be something similar in the near future. This type of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some real cruel coincidences, even with names of cities. Karbala, for example, which was in the headlines of the news in April, I think, when we already knew that Karbala will be in the title, and this was one of the first cities who was taken over by the IS, and so. I mean, but this is the region. This is what is.
Yeah. Well, it's a very sensitive topic also, this idea about Sunnah, Shia, and I hope it will be working well and I can exhibit this work in the Arab world without any problems. Honestly, it is really sensitive, and most of the people trying not really to see it because it's, yeah. It's the idea is simply just to explain very very quickly. Karbala is the place that witnessed sort of a massacre between two groups. One of these groups were led by the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. So this massacre happened after the death of the Prophet, 50 years after the death of the Prophet.
It's the 7th century. It's,
yes, happened between two teams, and both of them, of course, are Muslims. And from this moment, this battle basically, split happened between the Muslims. They became Sunnah and Shia. And I think that's why I thought it's, when you say the secrets of Karbala, it's not really that you will know the secrets of Karbala from the film, of course, but it's also trying to trigger sort of like when we are always talking about this battle, we think that we know what happened exactly. But we don't know exactly what happened, of course, because each group is writing from their point of view. So there is no real in this battle at all. We just what we just know that there is 18% of the family prophet got killed. That's it. This is what we know.
No, I just would like to know when you say you hope you can show it in the Arabic world. What do you think? Who would is there more tolerance in the Shiite or in the Sunnite?
No,
area?
this is
Can
not
you
the
say
problem.
like this or not?
No. This is not the problem at all. Usually, what is happening that people can use this type of art as a political tool. If I am against this museum, for example, I can say, "Oh, they are doing this. They are trying to make problem between Sunnah and Shia." Whatever, they can create any topic, but it's usually not real. And this is what is happening today in the Arab world. They're trying to use to use it, yes, to use any topic like this. But of course,
there must also be a difference in the Arab world, I would say, or is it, or I ask you, is that the case? Would it be different to show in Egypt from, let's say, in Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia would be more complex, I believe. But in, for example, now we have a big exhibition in Doha. And of course, Qatar are part of the production of this film anyway. But I'm just saying that we don't know what will really happen in the end. I think I don't think it will be really a big problem. But usually, I'm just saying that it's a bit sensitive topic. Yeah.
That's a question. Yeah.
Maybe it's a very Western-thinking person question, but I'm wondering if you have a message in your movies, or is there anything you are trying to move in people's minds after seeing your work, actually?
Okay. Yeah, it's even for myself. I'm trying to I believe when you see things many times, like for example, during this last final revolution, weird images were happening, were appearing on TV every day. You see it one time, second time, many times, and the same image of killing start to lose its meaning because you see it a lot. And I think part of this is to make sort of a shift to see the same written history in a different way. So, yeah, even you see it by marionette can be a bit different by seeing, it's not like seeing this by actors, by real actors. I think this shift can make us see the same human history in a different way. So I'm not trying to give messages. In fact, I'm feeling with my work, I'm also learning every day. I'm trying to discover things by reading. And I used to feel like always that this is more, that the artist is more like a translator, really. I usually was like really believing in this much more, that an artist is really translating an idea that it's really has no shape into a readable form. So this readable form is what we trying to do in the end, because we're dealing with something has no shape. You cannot really read it.
Well, this again, I would say, it's really for the marionettes are so much able to represent something which is like for children. It's like a puppet play, but on the other side, it's really war, what they are playing. And this confusion between a very serious and very cruel aspect, and then to have these naive walking and toddling puppets. This is also a very important shift, I would say. It's like we always thought a little bit also about the episches theater of Bert Brecht, to tell history again and to tell through history something new, but you are referring to this. And yeah, I think this approach or this relation to drama or to theatricality in a way, this is a very strong issue in your work, I would say.
Yeah, I think also if we go back to this idea about message, I believe really that most of the work that I try to do is not really something that I know very well. Honestly, it's not really this. A production happened almost a year and a half ago in Sharjah. I made it with Pakistani singers. That I went to Pakistan and I made a big song, and then I brought the singers to Sharjah to make a big performance, and all the singing was in Urdu, and the type of music is Qawwali. And I think, of course, it was big research to make this, but in the end, I don't know one Urdu word, and I don't know Qawwali music. And I think that's very important to me, seriously, that sort of this energy that kept me making things, that I'm running after my own ignorance about things, that I don't know it very well. It's like really try to work with it, with what I don't know, to discover more.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Shall we close here? I don't know, or if you still. Maybe we can just have a drink together upstairs. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.